There's a dark truth most people will never hear. A huge portion of what we call mental health isn't happening in the mind at all. It's happening in the body. We live in a world where depression is treated like a character flaw, anxiety is dismissed as overreacting, and burnout is blamed on laziness. But peel back the shame, the stigma, the labels, and a different picture appears. One where people aren't broken, they're malnourished. Not from lack of food, but from lack of real food. Because your brain is a biological organ, it doesn't run on positive thinking, it runs on nutrients, electricity, minerals, healthy fats, and amino acids. And when those aren't met, your life starts to feel like it's falling apart. That's the dark truth nobody told us. But stay with me, because this story ends in something deeply hopeful. Your entire life, you were taught mental health is emotional, that depression is sadness, anxiety is worry, and irritability is just who you are. So we try to force our way out of it through journaling, positive thinking, or willpower. But here's the question nobody asks. What if the problem isn't your mind? What if it's the machine your mind is living in? Your brain doesn't speak English. It communicates through chemistry. Inflammation feels like anxiety. Low nutrients feel like depression. Blood sugar crashes feel like hopelessness. Hormonal imbalance feels like being overwhelmed. A starving brain feels like low self-worth. So when something is off biologically, your brain doesn't say, I need minerals. It says, I can't cope. You're not weak. You're underfueled. Here's where it gets darker. Your gut, the place you digest food, has over 500 million neurons. That's not a metaphor. That's a second nervous system. Scientists call it the enteric nervous system. You and I call it the second brain, and it's connected to your real brain by the vagus nerve, a direct biological link where signals constantly flow back and forth. So what does this mean? It means the food you eat can alter your mood. Your gut bacteria can influence your thoughts, and inflammation in your stomach can create the feeling of anxiety, even when your life is peaceful. Here's the big one. 90% of your serotonin is produced in the gut. So if your gut is inflamed, your serotonin crashes. And you walk around thinking something is wrong with you, when the real problem is something is wrong with your diet. You're not mentally ill, you're biologically overwhelmed. Now we get into the battlefield we're all living on. Modern food is a trap. It's engineered, literally engineered for profit, not for health, so it gives you three things. Cheap calories, zero nutrients, addictive additives. Your stomach gets full, your brain gets nothing, and when your brain is starving, it doesn't say, hey, we need magnesium, or we're low on B12. It says, I'm anxious, I'm irritable, I'm hopeless, I can't focus. I don't feel like myself. That's not a personality problem, that's a biochemical starvation. But while they feed you these lab-created foods, they also demonize the very foods that kept humans healthy for thousands of years. Let's expose a few of these lies. You've heard it your whole life. Beef is bad. Red meat is dangerous. You should replace it with plant-based alternatives. But here's the dark truth. They didn't demonize beef because it's harmful. They demonized it because it doesn't make anyone rich. Especially grass-fed, grass-finished beef. The kind raised naturally, eating what cows are meant to eat. Grass-fed beef is one of the most nutrient-dense mental health foods on earth, containing higher omega-3s, more antioxidants, more vitamin K2, more CLA, complete amino acids, heme iron, B12, zinc, creatine, choline. These are the exact materials the brain needs to regulate mood, think clearly, and produce neurotransmitters. You remove these nutrients from a population and it becomes chemically unstable. A mentally unstable population is easier to medicate, easier to market, thus easier to control. There's nothing accidental about this narrative. Eggs were demonized for decades. Too much cholesterol. Bad for your heart. But your brain needs cholesterol. It uses it to build hormones, repair cells, create memories, and think. Eggs contain choline for memory and mood, omega-3s, vitamin D, complete protein. Eggs are one of the best brain foods in existence, which is exactly why they were replaced with sugary cereals and processed breakfast garbage. You can't patent an egg, but you can patent cereal. They told you salt is dangerous, but what they didn't tell you is this: your brain runs on salt. You need it for nerve transmission, hydration, hormone balance, and mood regulation. Low salt can cause anxiety, irritability, dizziness, brain fog, fatigue. The issue was never salt, it was processed food. But blaming salt sells low sodium products, which just leave you weaker, hungrier, and more unstable. The lie about saturated fat. This is the biggest lie of all. Saturated fat is bad. This narrative was funded by the sugar industry in the 1960s to shift blame away from sugar. But your brain is 60% fat, much of it saturated. You need saturated fat for hormone production, myelin, nerve insulation, cognitive performance, mood stabilization. When you remove saturated fat, you destabilize the brain. When you add it back, you stabilize the mind. The foods they demonize, beef, eggs, salt, and saturated fat, are the same foods that strengthen your brain. And the foods they push, processed grains, seed oils, sugars, are the ones that weaken it. Not because you're broken, but because the system is designed to break you. There are nutrient deficiencies that mimic mental illness so perfectly, even professionals misdiagnose them. Low omega-3s create depression. Low magnesium creates anxiety. Low B vitamins create panic symptoms. Low iron creates hopelessness and lethargy. Low vitamin D creates apathy and emotional numbness. You can't medicate your way out of malnutrition. And millions of people are being given labels when what they need is nutrients. Now let's talk trauma. Trauma increases cortisol. Cortisol burns through nutrients like fire. If you grew up in chaos, emotionally, physically, socially, your brain used far more minerals and vitamins just to survive. So as an adult, if your nutrient levels are low, you're not damaged, you're depleted. Trauma drains biology, and drained biology can't regulate emotion. This is why so many people feel stuck. It's not emotional failure, it's nutritional exhaustion. The food mood loop. Here's the trap most people fall into. You feel bad, you crave comfort foods. Comfort foods spike and crash your blood sugar. The crash feels like anxiety or depression. You crave more junk food to cope, and the cycle repeats. You start believing the lie. This is just who I am. No. This is biology, and biology can change. Breaking out. And here's where the story turns from dark to hopeful. Because the solution doesn't require perfection. You don't need an extreme diet. You don't need to track macros or live like a monk. You just need to nourish the organ your life depends on, your brain. Start with the basics. Eat real food, grass-fed beef, eggs, fruit, vegetables, potatoes, butter, sea salt, water, and sleep. Add simple essentials. Omega-3s, magnesium, vitamin D, probiotic foods, consistent meal times. Small changes equals big results. Here's the truth most people never hear. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not defective. You are a biological miracle, a system designed to heal, repair, and come back stronger. And when you give your body what it needs, your mind comes back online. The fog lifts, the anxiety softens, the mood stabilizes, the energy returns. You become yourself again. Not because you changed who you are, but because you finally fed the organ that your entire experience of life comes through. Your mental health isn't a mystery, it's chemistry, and chemistry can be rebuilt.